Rocky Asuka Romero. As you probably know, you watch me on New Japan Pro Wrestling and, Ring of Honor. But you really should support WrestleTalk, and you should follow them and subscribe right now. Do something cool with the buttons, and see you guys.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
How to fix WWE Survivor Series. I am Luca, and I'm joined, as I am every single Friday, by the hardest working person in all of sports infotainment and the leader of Team Last Place, Denise Salcedo. How's it going, Denise?
You know what? I gotta say this. Team Last Place is getting over. The people they're feeling my vibe. And I went in thinking, all right, I'm probably not going to end up in first place. So I ended up just rocking last place. And you know what? It worked out.
I mean, I don't really know much about being in last place as the current Jam That champion, a former Quizzlemania champion, the current Cinemania champion, a former tag team champion. But I very much, I really appreciate the dedication that you had to the cause. And I've got to be honest, I was sad when Alex left Team Last Place. When she...
Right? She left me all alone.
When that Jezebel went and got herself some points to get into fifth, I was very upset with her.
That was just so mean. I couldn't believe it. I just realized every man for himself, and I didn't expect it. But you know what? I'm rolling with it. So it worked out for me. I sent out a tweet putting this a trophy for being in last place and thanked my mom and the academy. It was so dumb. I was like, whatever. I might as well have fun with being in last place.
Well, speaking of every man for themselves and being dumb, Survivor Series is coming up this Sunday. I'm curious to get your thoughts on Survivor Series, particularly the build for this year, because I feel like there was a report from Meltzer a couple of weeks ago that people in the back are a little bit tired of Survivor Series because it kind of derails the stories that they're working on. Like the Raw at the moment is building this title picture around Randy Orton, The Fiend, The Miz, and Drew McIntyre, and there's been some lip service to his match with Roman, but it's not a big deal or anything. And the word is that WWE are doing Survivor Series this year with the brand warfare thing because it's what they've done for the last 4 years. So they just feel like they have to do it now, even though they don't actually want to do it now. So what are your feelings on Survivor Series this year?
I think the major issue is not necessarily doing a Raw versus SmackDown, because I feel like you could do it. If you do it right, it could work, right? However, this Survivor Series, it kind of feels like they're going in and they're putting all these matches together just because there's no real storyline. There's not meaning into wanting to win, why the teams want to win aside from them being on Raw and SmackDown. But even the matches that, are championship matches, okay, yeah, they're not even anything there's no real story. I think that's the big problem. You got to give me a reason to care. You just can't put these people in a match and because they're big names or because they're popular that you just expect everybody to be interested in it. And yeah, we're probably going to have a lot of good matches. That's not even the issue. But I think the fact that I don't think there's a match that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hyped for it because this is finally going to happen. I don't feel that way. And that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, there's only really one match that I've got that kind of feeling for, which is New Day Street Profits. Because that's the match where I'm like, oh, that's because that's a match we've not seen before. So I'm like, oh, that's quite cool. They've always been kept away on opposite brands. I mean, Street Profits haven't been up for a massively long time, but that's the one match where I'm like, oh, that's quite interesting. And actually, even if New Day drop the titles on Monday and it goes against the Hurt Business, I'm actually still thinking Hurt Business versus New Day. Yeah, I could be quite behind that match.
Right. See, and I don't feel that way about any match. And so that bums me out. But I just really do think that instead of for example, all the qualifier matches, yeah, some of them have been pretty good, but for the most part, it's just, okay, let's put opponent A, opponent B, and whatever. There's no real stakes into this. So yeah, I just think that they could have done, it doesn't matter if it's Raw versus SmackDown. I think if they make it mean something, then okay. But yeah, I do get the sense of should do it, totally different, where we should have, just real stakes into this. That's the main takeaway from all of it.
Yeah, and the reason why this podcast title came around is actually from 3 different mailbag questions that we got, which was just sort of like a bit down on Survivor Series. And, I think we across the board at WrestleTalk have been a bit down on this. Ollie's about the only person who is into Survivor Series, and that's because he's into Team Raw. Like, he likes what Team Raw are doing, and he really likes Captain AJ. But, like, firstly, Dwayne the Gronk Johnson said, what are your thoughts on the concept of Survivor Series? I'm finding the idea of SmackDown versus Raw and the whole brand warfare stuff really boring. And I think partly because of that is there's no figureheads anymore, because WWE in their infinite wisdom, and I do think they were right to do this at the time, was to get rid of authority figures, because they were the problem. It was heel authority figures were the real problem with WWE, because we don't have a Shane McMahon at the head of SmackDown, or we don't have a Stephanie at the head of Raw, or a Baron Corbin at the head of Raw, or what have you. You're asking the question of like, well, who are you fighting for then? Like, the network? It's like, well, why do I care if USA Network win? Like, why do I care?
It feels more just like a sense of pride, maybe. Is that reaching? Am I reaching for a sense of pride? Is it just because your favorite color is red or blue?
Well, that's it, because 4/5 of Team Raw were on SmackDown last month. Like, Keith Lee's the only member of Team Raw that's been like Raw from the beginning. So like, why does AJ care if Raw wins?
That's true. Can you fall in love that quickly with a brand within just a couple of weeks? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and I'm not behind the brand warfare thing, but I think partly because that is because we have no reason to care about brand warfare. I've seen a lot of people like make suggestions like it should be about Royal Rumble positions. So like if like 4 members of your team survive, then you are the last 4 places in the Royal Rumble. At least then there's some stakes behind this. Or like, if you are a surviving member of your team, that gets you a title shot in the next couple of weeks or in the next couple of months or something along those lines. At least like there's some tangible stuff to this.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I think that's something that's believable, where you can get people from the same brand that are feuding each and every single week. But hey, for this one night, let's all be friends, because it's in our best interest, because we all want to get those great spots, whether it be in the Royal Rumble or whatever stakes they put out there. Like, they can get creative with this. So I do agree in the sense where they can do something different just to really add stakes and meaning.
Yeah, I mean, Owen puts the question here. I have a take on what I want to see you guys think. I'm pretty sick and tired of the how will they get along storyline for the Survivor Series teams every single year. Can we have a year where they just keep it simple and the actual 5-on-5 is for brand supremacy, whatever the hell that's worth? My example is the 2005 Survivor Series men's elimination match, where the heels and faces of Raw and SmackDown actually came together for the greater cause, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm fully behind Ollie Davis in his thoughts on enjoying Team Raw. Like, he's absolutely right to think it, because I'm kind of enjoying the stuff with Team Raw as well. The problem is Team Raw not getting along is being massively undermined because Team Raw on the women's team also aren't getting along, and right. Team SmackDown aren't getting along. So it's like, well, no one's getting it's the same story on every single team. I don't even are they doing a story with the SmackDown women's team?
And maybe they think that that's a way to make it interesting. Like, oh, they're not going to get along. Is this going to cost them their match because they're not all friends? But it's the age-old thing that we've been seeing again constantly over and over. And we all know that things always work out in the end, for the most part.
And lastly, this is an interesting one from Adonis, who said, every year, like clockwork, WWE starts doing brand warfare during Survivor Series season, blood feud matches for Hell in a Cell, and so on. My question is, should WWE start randomizing the dates for pay-per-views every year from now on? I get that you want to keep Mania and the Royal Rumble at yearly intervals and SummerSlam because it takes place during the summer, but shuffling pay-per-views could make for less predictable booking, i.e. brand warfare season, and so on. I mean...
So does he mean like switching the months up for the pay-per-views, like not having it be like your traditional month?
Yeah. So like you as a viewer don't know what month Survivor Series is going to come in. So like, it could happen in March, you kind of, I think you're kind of onto something, Adonis, but at the same time, you as a fan would probably start to work things out. Like when Pat McAfee came back and aligned himself with Lurkin and Birch, Lurch and Borkin. Birch and Lorcan, and then Pete Dunne arrives, and you're like, huh, a 4-man team going up against the Undisputed Era, eh? I think that War Games might be round the corner.
See, I like that perspective, and I was thinking it more as in, so my answer is no, right? I think that it should be like whatever your month is, that's the pay-per-view that we're expecting, and for different reasons. One of them being, one, apparently I don't like change because I wouldn't want it just for the fact that I don't want to see this change happen. So maybe that's just my old school traditional brain. But the second one would be, I'm thinking more in terms of marketing. Marketing would be very, very hard to get around it. Like, let's say we weren't in COVID era and, you're going around different cities and those tickets go on sale months in advance. How on earth would you be buying tickets for a show that you don't even know what the show is? And like, what if it's a pay-per-view that you don't even care for? And then you're all hoping it's Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble or whatever. And then it ends up being something lame. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, the only one that I would change in this, and I've said this before, is getting rid of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I hate the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view because what you end up with is one match that is worthy of a Hell in a Cell match, and then a couple of other matches that are just there because. Like, why was Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell this year? Because like they could have told the story. It's to keep the legends out, but then they didn't tell that story. They just did it because it was time. It was October, so we had to do a Hell in a Cell match.
And do you still get excited for Hell in a Cell matches?
Nope, absolutely not. No.
Did you before?
Oh yeah. Oh dude. Like when they announced Hell in a Cell's coming, Armageddon 2000, when they were like, it's Hell in a Cell and there's 6 people inside, I was like, what? No, you're never gonna do that. It was the most exciting thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's the major issue. The fact that most of us, before we used to see the Hell in a Cell as this is the real deal. If this feud, this storyline made it to the Hell in a Cell, that's how you know that you were watching A, like a top-notch story, B, that it was, it wasn't like, we have throughout the years so many different storylines, right? But there's always those ones that are at the very top. You knew they were at the very top if they ended in a match like a Hell in a Cell. And so that for me was special. If like a match that I was like a feud that I was really into ended up being a Hell in a Cell match, like I remember being very excited about that. And I took it seriously, like, oh my God, like this is going to be the real thing. And now that has been completely stripped away where it's okay, it's the pay-per-view. So, whatever match is hot enough, we'll make it in there. And so, yeah, as a fan, I've lost interest in the stipulation because it doesn't mean anything anymore. And it used to mean something.
So to go back to our original question, Denise Salcedo, how would you fix Survivor Series?
How would I fix Survivor Series? Honestly, I have to agree with everything that we just talked about. Give it stakes. Build up the actual feuds, make it a big deal. When you're doing your pre-show, like talk about stats, talk about, who's been the sole survivor, who hasn't been a sole survivor, what does it take to get there? How many matches have Raw won? How many have SmackDown won? Important stuff like that, just so that, I like numbers. Like I like video packages where they talk about the Royal Rumble numbers, where they talk about just little facts in general, because that gets you hyped up, right? And so doing something like that, and like I said, adding stakes and everything else that we just mentioned prior to this, I think would definitely elevate the Survivor Series a lot more. And I do think having those things would make it feel more unpredictable instead of just being like, okay, nobody cares if all of Raw wins or all of SmackDown wins, because come on, 2018 Survivor Series, and then the only match that SmackDown won was the pre-show match, and then won nothing else. And you would think, okay, maybe something would happen. Let's play off of that. No, it was like completely forgotten. And so that already set a precedent for, hey, it doesn't really matter if Raw or SmackDown or NXT wins.
Yeah, and that's it. And like I didn't say this on the Raw review when we did this on Tuesday, but I was talking to my wife about this, and I was trying to explain to her like, Survivor Series and sort of like, what's going on in the product at the moment. And I just said to her, and I was like, the problem is WWE themselves don't care about Survivor Series. So I'm now watching a show where I'm wasting my time. Like I am what like this month has been a total waste of my time. It's been a waste of my time. It's been a waste of your time. It's been a waste of everyone's time watching the show because WWE are putting on a show they couldn't care less about. So why am I watching? Like, now I'm just wasting my time.
Luke, do you want to know something sad? Oh, wait, actually, never mind. Finish your thought. I feel like I just cut
no, you go. No, you go. What's that?
Okay. I want to add to the fact that you said that you're wasting your time because last week I didn't do the Raw review. So I have not seen Raw at all. Yeah. And based on, and I only caught like the last few minutes of Louis and Sean's stream. So I only really caught a little bit. And here's the thing that I missed an entire week of Raw, 3 hours of television, and everybody within like 4 bullet points on Twitter was able to tell me what I missed. And I didn't miss anything. And here's the thing, like I should be behind. I should technically be behind. I should have missed a lot of storytelling. I should have missed a lot. But the truth is, I'm probably going to go back this Monday and I'm going to be seeing the exact same thing and nothing much is going to change. And obviously we get replays. So I'm perfectly fine. And it shouldn't be that way. I should have fallen behind.
Exactly, yeah. Like I think the fact that there is no storyline reason for Survivor Series outside of it is November. That is the easiest thing to fix on this, is to give it some stakes, give it some actual purpose, give it a reason, but also, and you pointed this out, give it a follow-up. NXT won Survivor Series last year, but what did that mean for NXT? What did that mean for Raw? What did that mean for SmackDown? It meant nothing, actually.
They're not even in it this year.
No, SmackDown lost every single match apart from the pre-show 2 years ago. Meant nothing for SmackDown. Meant absolutely diddly dick for them. And it meant absolutely nothing for Raw either. Like, no one gained anything from this. And yeah, so there are some very simple things that you could do with Survivor Series. But I do think ultimately, the last thing we'll sort of say on this, I think ultimately WWE have not cared about Survivor Series for quite some time. I think there was a report like 15 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago or something, where Vince McMahon wanted to drop Survivor Series because he didn't like it anymore. And so the company would just go like, we're just not going to do Survivor Series. But then because the news broke out and a lot of fans got upset that they were taking away the thing and they were making a change, that they were like, okay, well, we'll keep it then. So I just think they've always had this sort of resentment against the show. And yeah, I think if you're not going to care about your pay-per-view, why bother putting it on?
Exactly. And I don't like that. Like, care about it. If you care about it, we'll care about it. It's the cycle of life.
Right, let's move on to the AEW NXT Ratings War. Both shows were up from last week because they weren't going up against the presidential coverage. Full Gear was up 6.6% to 764,000 viewers, while NXT was up 3.6% to 632,000 viewers. Dynamite 17th in the all-important 18 to 49 demo. NXT was at, I think it didn't make it into the top 15. I think it pulled in a 0.16. So NXT was up. Well, both shows were up. Although, Dave Meltzer put up on Twitter that it's not a great number for AEW coming off the back of a pay-per-view. You'd expect a much bigger bump, especially a show that got such rave reviews as well. So I think it would be seen as a bit of a disappointment for Dynamite. Thoughts on the shows last night?
Well, I will say, okay, so just to kind of give you a couple of my thoughts on the show. So I thought that if you were going to compare any episode of AEW and NXT that aired the same week and were completely polar opposites, this was the perfect week to do that in the sense that NXT felt very, very wrestling heavy. We got a lot of really good matches. There were only a few, like I would say, big moments. Obviously, the Leon Ruff thing was a big moment. And I know some people didn't like it. Some people did. I'm on the side that I did like it because it added the element of surprise. And whenever that can happen in wrestling, whenever I don't feel like I know what's going to happen or, I'm not completely surprised, I don't like that. I like to be surprised. And I was surprised with this. So I did like this. And but other than that, I thought there was nothing else in the show on NXT that felt major. Then on AEW, I felt that this was very like they just threw everything like ball to the wall crazy. Like, let's do this, let's do that. Now, I was not a fan of everything that went down on the show. I wasn't a fan of how they introduced the Shaquille O'Neal announcement. I thought it could have been done completely different. I thought that Jade looked phenomenal, but she didn't cut a great promo. I thought the promo was very, very bad. I thought being put in a position like that, you have to have a better promo set, better promo skills, especially if you're going to be making this big announcement and, you know, you're in this thing with Cody, you have this big moment with Brandy, and Brandy completely outshined her in terms of promo work, like completely. I thought Brandy did a great job. I wasn't a fan of this whole segment though. I thought it was just a little bit not really my style, but I do have to applaud Brandy's promo work there. And there was a lot of other good stuff that happened on the show, two totally different shows that I'm not going to complain about because I thought that they both brought two totally different things to different types of fans that might prefer certain things and might prefer, you know, again, like we've talked about this before, there's people that prefer just like straight wrestling and that's all we care about. And then there's people that want more of the bells and whistles, more of the entertainment aspect that we see AEW bring in. And so I thought they both offered different things.
Yeah, Ollie and I, when we were talking about that Cody segment, were just like, do you know what? Like, I didn't hate the segment. I didn't love the segment either, but I would not show it to a new fan. Like, if I was trying to convince a new fan to come on board and watch AEW, that is not the segment I would show them. Like, I would show them the main event, but I would not show them the Cody segment.
Yeah, there was just a lot of question marks there. Like, first of all, who's this girl coming in? We don't know her. Eventually, we got to that. 2, what is her relationship? What is her connection with Shaquille O'Neal? 3, why, if Shaquille O'Neal was, at Full Gear, why couldn't they do like a pre-recorded segment or just something with his actual face and voice and likeness in it? So that's more of where like my thought process came into this.
Well, let's dive into your Patreon mailbag questions. If you want to submit a question to the mailbag, all you got to do is head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, donate at any dollar amount, and leave a comment in the community section labeled mailbag. Do not email me. I will just lose it. Bad at my job. We've got a packed old mailbag again this week. Renee says, hey, Luke and Denise, hope you're having a wonderful day. I was curious about your top 5 shows and one show that you wished you'd never watched. For me, it's Friends, Stranger Things, The Office, Community, and Impractical Jokers. I wish I'd never wasted my time watching Big Bang Theory. I just don't find it funny. Oh, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think Big Bang Theory is quite terrible. I think it's a very bad show.
What? I was a fan of the Big Bang Theory. Like maybe the last 2 seasons I didn't watch, but like all the early seasons I binge watched. I got the flu for like 2 weeks and I was at home and that is what I watched was the Big Bang Theory. And what was his question though? The top 5
the question was like top 5 shows, like shows that you would watch and a show that you wish you'd never really spent time watching.
What are yours?
Okay, I mean, Twilight Zone's my favorite TV show of all time. Freaks and Geeks is a show that I absolutely love. I think I'd probably go something like, I mean, because I'm watching Buffy at the moment, so I guess I would think that, but it's like not one of my favorite shows ever. Taskmaster is a great show. Frasier is always great. And I want to pick something like, because I do watch a lot of Friends. Friends is over here a lot. Like Friends plays like 24 hours a day. It's on here in the UK still in 2020. So I think I want to say Friends. Am I going to say Friends? Give me some of yours. Give me some of yours so I can give some time to think.
Friends. Friends. How I Met Your Mother. Those are like my favorite. I Love Lucy. Sex and the City. Oh God, a lot of recent ones too. Like I love recent shows that I love. The Morning Show, which is barely going into that second season. Right? Really good show.
I haven't finished it. We haven't finished it yet, but it's so.
Oh, no, I wasn't. Oh no, I was scared. I was like, oh, I don't want to give you any spoilers. Oh
no. Yeah, no, but like, I'd love it. Jennifer Aniston's great in that show.
Oh, she is
rushing it in that show. She's so great.
Here's my rule: if Reese Witherspoon is in it, I'm watching it.
Yeah, I mean, my wife is the exact same thing. She is a Hello Sunshine fan. Like
Yes.
if it is a Hello Sunshine production, she is all over it.
Yes, I'm with her on that one.
Hmm.
And show I never
Okay.
wish I watched. Um, God, I hated the last season of Lost. That was such a
Mhm.
good show, but the last season was awful.
Yeah, I Lost is a really good answer. I think I'm going to say, which is a shame because I loved Dexter so much, but the last season made me so mad that I kind of wish I'd never watched it and got invested. Um,
That's
so
how I
that I
felt
didn't
with the How I Met Your Mother ending too, actually.
Yeah. So like I don't want that crushing disappointment to happen again. I should say The Simpsons really as like my fifth one. Like, seasons 1 through 13, maybe even up to 14. Like it's modern day Simpsons not as good, but like you cannot touch early days. Like those first four, and that's pretty 14 years of like quality entertainment. Like that's pretty good going. Um, okay, I might need you to help again because it's my Spanish lesson of the week, Denise,
Ooh,
from
let me find
Juan
it.
Villanona. So it's the second mailbag question.
Is it Frank?
No, Frank comes up later. That is another Spanish lesson, but this one is from
Juan?
Juan.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm here.
So, saludo familia.
Say it again.
Saludo familia.
You know what? Not bad. Saludo familia. Yeah.
Okay, and then okay,
This one's
okay,
hard.
so okay, it is Quejado. Nope, I need to hear this one said out loud first because I can't read it.
¿Qué hay de nuevo?
Okay, even then I can't do it because
So it's que
que
hay
hay
de
de
nuevo.
nuevo.
Good
Que hay de
job.
que
You
hay de
did it,
nuevo.
Luke.
I think que hay de que hay de nuevo.
Yeah, you know what? It's not bad. Honestly, you have a good voice for it. You just got to get comfortable and confident, and I think you'd be able to pull it off.
Yeah, the confidence thing is very much where I'm lacking. Anyway, listening to Luke's Spanish is just lovely. I don't think it is. I'll make it a weekly thing. Maybe one day you'll be able to do a full mailbag in Spanish. That is big thinking. I could barely do it in English. Definitely, this is my favorite show of the week.
That's terribly sad.
First thing, Denise, remember you said you were going to watch Walter versus Dragunov?
I did.
I know that you did because you watched it literally about an hour before we did this show.
I did. I remembered. I was like, I'm every day, you know, those things that you're like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. But then you go the whole day and you didn't do it. And you're like, oh, I got to do this. Right. Well, I finally got to it today. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. Like, I got to watch like the show's about to do it. And I know for a fact someone's going to ask me. Holy dang. All right. So I'll just start off by saying that I want to be Dragunov. That guy is a badass. I want to be him. All right. Nobody should be doing any chops or slaps in wrestling right now unless they look like Walters. All right. If they're not that impressive, you can't do them right now. Take a moment, take a break. Don't do it. You'll just be outshined. Have you seen Rocky, the movie? Like any of the movies?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You know how like they when they put on those boxing fights and they're very cinematic. They get you in the story and you're like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Right? Like that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I had that with this match where it felt like the storytelling was so strong in this match that it felt like you were watching something out of a movie, out of a film scene, like this very, very dramatic outcome between these two men who are just killing each other. And it's very different from just having a phenomenal match. It had that extra thing to it. And I don't even know what that extra thing is called, but it just had it. And I loved it. And one of the things that commentary kept talking about was the fact that they kept saying, they're redefining violence and all of that. And I really felt like they did that in terms of, we've been seeing a lot of like hardcore matches, a lot of matches that are supposed to be very, very violent. And this one had no weapons, but it had more violence and more like grit, more brutality than in anything else that I've seen of recently that had weapons and blood and all of this other stuff included. Dragunov's chest afterwards was completely damaged. I don't know if he posted any sort of photos on social media about it. I haven't seen them, but I would love to see some photos from like afterwards, because based on just what he looked like at that moment, and it's going to be worse afterwards, it was just incredible. It was good stuff. And like I said, I just watched it right now. I'm really late to the party, so I have like all of this fresh perspective into it right now. But it was really good. And I thought commentary did a great job at putting over Walter. Not Walter, Walter.
Walter, yes. I mean, I've seen Walter Dragunov have matches before, and like those two kill each other every single time, and it is great. Walter is one of my favorite wrestlers on this planet. I think he is an incredible talent. You said there were no weapons in this match, but Walter is the weapon. Like, he is an absolute machine of a man. He's so charismatic, and like Dragunov, man. So we went to the BT Sports WWE launch earlier this year, back in January, when we were allowed to see people and go to events. And they had like a couple of matches on, and it was full of NXT UK guys. Although they did Nikki Cross versus Charlotte Flair as well. It's the first match they've ever had together, which was pretty good. And Sheamus's it was his return match. It was the first match he had back from his injury against Andrade. But the main event had Mustache Mountain teaming with Dragunov, and there's like, I don't know, 100 people at this event maybe, but I got so in, like, Dragunov, whenever he makes his entrance, me and Ollie have always said, whenever Dragunov makes his entrance, it brings out something primal in me. Like, it really does. Like, there's something guttural that comes out of me whenever I see Dragunov make his entrance. The way that he slaps the floor and everything,
Movement.
like the movement, everything. He brings something primal out of me. It's incredible the amount he does it. And like the best thing about NXT UK, which I don't think is a great product, but the best thing about it is that they have changed a lot of things about people. Like, they will change presentations about a lot of wrestlers that I really like, but the two presentations they have not changed are Walter and Dragunov, and that's why they're the best people on the brand.
So let me ask you a question. Obviously, since you're in the UK, do you think that they should just drop NXT UK and bring over those guys over to just regular NXT?
I personally, absolutely. Like, I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet against NXT UK because it was launched for totally cynical reasons. World of Sport was being launched here on ITV, so WWE were annoyed that they didn't get the ITV spot, because that's what they've been wanting to get for years. They've been wanting to get off Sky and go to ITV, where it's on free TV and it's a much bigger audience. Like, someone pointed out recently that AEW's ITV numbers, despite the fact that it's shown at like 11 p.m. here on a random ass Monday, draws way better than WWE figures do, because it's on free TV. And like, it's on a massive tape delay, but it's on free TV, so it's automatically going to draw way better numbers than WWE does on BT Sport, which I'd imagine is probably a bit of it pisses them off a little bit. So they launched NXT UK for completely cynical reasons. They then went and they just hoovered up a lot of the really good talent around the UK for very cynical reasons, particularly because some of them were trying to sign with World of Sport. So they just stacked them away to just sign them out with no plans for them whatsoever. And then they were saying like, we're going to be working with these British promotions. We're going to be doing this now. Yeah. And then what they ended up doing was taking talent away from them and making them shut down. We've lost a lot of UK promotions because of NXT UK. So I do have a bit of a bit of a bee in my bonnet against them. So I would like to see that brand shut down. And because like, there's so much great talent that they have signed up. I want to see them if you're going to sign them, put them on a much bigger platform where you are going to get the best out of them. Like, there's no reason outside of Walter not wanting to be there why Walter shouldn't be on NXT, the main NXT card, or actually on Raw and SmackDown. Like, and Dragunov, like, he should be on Raw and SmackDown.
It shouldn't be that hard. As a person who covers wrestling, for example, I'm watching this match 2 weeks late. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like this match was on a show that I'm watching on a weekly basis religiously, and I didn't have to make extra time to go out of my way to watch it. And I'm saying that because when you have talent that is that good, they should be put at the forefront of your your products that you're pushing out to the mainstream world. And yeah, NXT UK is more, geared towards a different audience, to a more niche audience. And so it is harder for not harder for the masses to see it, but it's more, the masses would have to go out of their way to actually watch this unless it's part of their regular programming. And it doesn't make sense to me why, hey, I'm watching 3 hours of Raw where I'm seeing the same matches over and over, where you have this hidden gem over at NXT UK and you're putting out matches like this. If people weren't talking about this match, probably nobody would even go in and watch it. Part of the reason why I and so many other people are going to tune in to watch this match is because people were talking about it. And so, like I said, it should just be put out there. You want to, there's so much talk every single week about ratings and ratings war. Okay, if I owned any company, I'm going to put my very best in the front so that I could be the winner. And so, yeah, and for all the reasons that you said, I do agree with you. If somebody signs, if an athlete, it doesn't matter from where, if you're from the UK, if you're from wherever, if you sign with WWE, who is the biggest company in the world in wrestling, I don't care what anyone says, that's just the truth. Those are just the facts. They're the biggest company. So when you bring in talent, you want to make sure that they get that proper exposure that somebody like a Randy Orton or a Becky Lynch would get. You want to have that, and they shouldn't be niched down into this box where it's just, okay, you're from the UK, you work this style, let's put you in this brand.
Yeah, it is baffling that they've got Kylie Ray and they've got Viper, and they're just stuck on NXT UK. Like, those are two incredible wrestlers who should be on a much bigger stage than what they are. Like, Kaylee Ray has been like, she's been NXT UK Women's Champion for like, I don't know, 5 years at this point. And like, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And it's a real shame because she is such a great talent who should be on a much, much bigger stage than what she is. We need to move on because we're running out of time. We've still got loads of questions that we've not got to yet. Manraj, when did it become cool to cheer the bad guy? The NWO, 1996, I would guess.
I think I started cheering the bad guy like naturally. It was just a natural thing from being a fan in the early days. Like, I don't remember a specific moment. It was just a natural thing.
Jamie Shields, as I listen to this, I'm currently on my long run. Check this out, 10 kilometers plus. Like, that's a long ass run, Jamie. You're my podcast of choice for my weekend run, and I appreciate what you guys do. It allows the time to pass quickly. Thank you very much for listening, Jamie. Who is your most underrated wrestler, past or present? Not necessarily because they didn't get used on TV, but because you see something in them which makes you wish they could be pushed more. Mine is Chad Gable.
That's a really good pick. What's yours?
I mean, Ricochet is the one that springs to mind of just like, I look at that guy and I'm like, why aren't you in a much higher position on the card than you currently are? Mustafa Ali, actually, from the same reason, where I look at him and I'm like, how is this guy just like constantly being put into either storylines that go nowhere or terrible gimmicks that aren't going to get him over?
See, I think in WWE, you nailed it in terms of Gable and Mustafa Ali. Outside of WWE, in terms of like underrated, I would definitely say Jay White. I feel that he's done so much and has changed so much and has so many positives, but I don't necessarily think he gets the credit that he deserves from the fans.
Do you know what? Jay White's a really interesting one because 3 years ago, when Gato was pushing him, being like, "Hey, he's going to be our next guy," and particularly after I think they probably saw the writing on the wall that Kenny might be going, that they were like, "We're going to push him." They put him over Tanahashi and all this and the other, and like a lot of people were like, Jay White, really? Are we sure on this one? I don't think this is going to work at all. But dude has pulled it out the bag. Like, Gato saw it and we did not. And that is full credit to Gato. That is full credit to Jay White as well. That guy is incredible. What an amazing talent he is now. What a proper main event talent he has become. And that is through hard work and a company being fully behind someone. Yeah, absolutely. Like, full credit to them.
Yeah, I agree.
Chris Duncan, if you could trade one star right now between Raw and SmackDown, who would you choose and why? He picked Tucker to SmackDown, Big E to Raw. Actually, I'll tell you what. Seth Rollins back to Raw so we can get him away from Buddy Murphy, Aaliyah, and the Mysterios. Just any way to separate them out.
I just feel that because we just had the draft, I don't feel like I have anybody that I'm like, oh, this person should move back over here. I don't know, maybe Biggie back with New Day. That would probably be the only thing I can think of right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, Chris's reason for putting Tucker on SmackDown is just so he can feud with Otis, which at least makes sense. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Right here, more Spanish here from Frank.
Let me pull this up. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, so me, I can get that.
Am I reading it or are you reading it? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I need you to say it first so I can kind of like, because if I was to look at this, I would say pregunta.
So it's mi pregunta es para Luke.
I wasn't far off there because I said, so mi pregunta es para Luke?
Yeah, mi pregunta es para Luke.
Mi pregunta es para
Luke. For you. I don't know if you understood what he's saying, but yeah, he's saying that this question is for you.
Okay, what did the first one mean then?
The first one, he was just basically saying like, hey, like what's new?
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's new? No, not much. I'm pretty good. I'm a bit tired, but I'm okay. Frank says, I don't know who the current champion is. You don't? You don't know who the current champion is? And there is a reason.
I don't either. I don't see him.
And there's a reason why you might not have known that Ollie Davis was the champion, Frank, and that's because he wouldn't wear the title on streams because he doesn't care about this title like I do. It says, will anyone else in the office challenge for the championship? It seems like only the top stars are going for it at the moment. I'd like to see Andy, Adam, or even Denise challenge for the title.
Excuse me, top stars and not mentioning Denise Salcedo? How dare you? No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, other people will eventually go for it. It's just that, yeah, we want to try and get the belt over. So we're using the top guys.
I was going to say, what is the shipping cost to get that bout over to Los Angeles? I think that might be the issue.
I was going to say, it's costing us like 40, 50 quid a time just to send it in Ubers across London. Like, I don't think we want to then start sending it across like to the US.
That's true. Oh, God.
Oliver Flood, this is a great question. I've noticed the match graphics for Sasha versus Asuka and noticed how weird it is that Asuka has this kick-ass green makeup leaking from her eyes and mouth, but is smiling. Wouldn't it make more sense for her to be doing a cooler pose? And my question is, what are your favorite kind of match graphics? Personally, I miss the moving ones. Oh, I loved moving graphics from like sort of 2003, 2004.
Oh, we should do one. Ready? 3, 2, 1. We did it. Yeah.
I was like the Rocks one where he's just like throwing the hand up to them. It was so
Everyone
great.
had a good one, and then they would like pause and like I don't know. I love those. Those were good.
I've always had this. This has actually been one of my small like pet peeves against WWE match graphics is that everyone is smiling, and I hate it. It's like, be mean. You're wrestlers. You're about to like fight each other, and they're like, I'm having a match now.
Well, everyone wants to look cute. No one wants to look. I was gonna say look and Luke ugly. And all those. I was gonna say no one wants to look ugly, Luke. And then I said Luke. That's a tongue twister.
And then what you said, unfortunately, was a Freudian slip where you're like, you're butt ugly, Luke.
Okay, I did not mean to call you ugly. I was trying to say no one wants to look ugly, Luke.
Hollywood Salcedo coming out here, spitting some fire at me.
Oh man, I can't. I can't.
Kid Gaskin says, I'm not sure if this question has been asked before. What's the best and worst year to be a WWE fan? 2000 be the best. That is a flawless year of wrestling. And the worst is 2010. There was a year that nearly made me stop watching, but absolutely 100% the best is the year 2000. Brilliant, brilliant year.
I think we had a question similar to this last week, something along those lines. And I got to agree with you on 2000. I mean, for me, I was a big fan of it because it was like peak Triple H and I was a Triple H fan. So I was a rock guy.
I was a peak rock guy at that point as well. So I was like always looking for my boy to win that title. Should have happened at WrestleMania. Should have happened at WrestleMania 2000.
And then I think my answer was 2013, The Miz.
Marcus Sol Campbell, who do you think shot Johnny Bravo? Personally, I think Tommy Dreamer is responsible.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea at this point. Let's say Mo.
I
I,
feel. Oh wait, who'd you say? Who did you say?
I was making the Simpsons reference. I have no
Oh,
idea at the moment.
I didn't watch The Simpsons. Like I watched it very rarely, so I have no. Like if you give me a Simpsons joke right now or something that's very common in their fandom, it would just go over my head.
Oh, Denise. I thought all wrestling fans were also Simpsons fans. That's pretty
Apparently
much all
not.
that's all I ever see on Twitter is people making Simpsons jokes, but with wrestling. Um, Flaming Live has got a question. Anyone else feel like we're getting back and forth with Randy and the title? He's at 14. I can see Miz cashing in and then getting it back to 15, Edge getting it at Mania, and Randy getting it back for 16, then lose it to someone, let's say The Fiend. SummerSlam, Cena returns versus Fiend versus Randy. So both of them are going for their record-breaking title win. My fantasy booking would be The Fiend goes over using the two biggest stars in WWE history to do it. For example, if they want to do the 17th win, they have to go through The Fiend. Oh, man. Do you know what? I am going to say no on this one, Flaming Live, because I don't want to see Randy and John Cena feuding for the title in 2021, because you want to talk about something that's been played out and done to death. I'm so over that.
I agree with you, but at the same time, like seeing where Randy Orton is going, you can't help but to wonder if it's going to happen. But I would hope not, just because I think that again, it's 2020. We got to see new faces, new champions.
Yeah, even if you're using that to get the Fiend over, I don't think it's going to make a blind bit of difference. Andy also adds as well, challenge for Luke, as I've actually just noticed myself doing a lot. What is the live streams? And you grab your head a lot. I think it's because I sort of do this, sort of like and rub my head. My challenge is the next
that on
watch
our
long.
stream.
Well, I don't know, but sometimes I literally just itch my forehead because I had an itch that I had to scratch. Flaming Life says, my challenge for the next watch along, don't grab or touch or hold your head. Absolutely not. If I need to touch or grab and hold my head, I'm going to. Particularly if I'm shocked about something, I'm like, like, that's what you do when you're shocked at something. You grab your head and be like, oh my God. Like, surely, right?
That is savage. You're going to be like with an itchy nose, just wiggling your nose around. See, now my nose is itchy.
I know, right? Like, I'm just saying that now, my nose had to be, I just to touch my, when, before, like, we left the studio, so it was like in early days of like the COVID panic, I do that, like, I itch my nose a lot because, like, you know, it just gets itchy. And there were so many comments being like, stop touching your face. Like, now's the time to just really stop touching your face, because like that was the early doors. It was like, you know, stop. If you go outside, don't then go inside and start touching your face, you know, wash your hands and everything. And of course, like, you know, I was washing my hands because that was the you know, that was the guidance at the time. But then I would, like, you know, touch my face in the stream. People were like, stop touching your face. You're like, you've got to stop touching your face.
Yeah, I get that, because I remember everybody was saying that, like even family members were doing it like right at the start, and you didn't realize how much you actually touched your face until you couldn't.
Didn't realize it. And then, but the more people said it, the more I had to do it. The more I'd be like, okay, sorry, you've said it again. And now my head's itchy again.
Yeah.
Kevin says, we praise AEW for going momentum, rightfully so. We had the likes of Cage, Archer, XLAX, Brody Lee, Hager being pushed when they joined the company, which gave us great programs. But after Moxie's victories with Archer, Cage, and to an extent Brody Lee, those guys have cooled off a bit. You can't have a program for everyone, but it feels like there's a lot of up mid-carders with not much to do. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I feel that sometimes it feels like AEW has ideas for certain guys, but not for everybody. So then you see certain guys sort of left out in the cold. And I mean, I'm not going to go on a rant, but I'll mention again the Lucha Brothers, Brian Cage, Santana, and Ortiz. Those are just a couple of names, and there's so many more. Scorpio Sky. I mean, you can really go on, but that's also a testament to how strong their roster is. But again, you got to sometimes highlight certain guys, and I don't feel like we get that each and every single week. There's been certain weeks where I'm like, why are we getting a focus on this guy when, you know, we're not paying attention to this guy? Like even Private Party, they got that win over Young Bucks. And then what happened after that? They're still in the same spot that they were a year ago on the roster.
Yeah, it felt like that win was more for the Bucks than it was for Private Party. It was just like the shock of the Bucks going out first round. I do agree in a sense. I do think that I think that AEW, their sort of plan is cycling people in and out. So, like, you know, Brody Lee was involved in this storyline here, but so as to not overexpose him, we're just going to cycle him out of storylines and then bring him back when the time is right to bring that character back. I think that, and that way, like, guys always stay fresh. It's kind of like, various. It's like a season of a show. Like, you keep characters fresh. You don't overexpose them. I wish they'd do it with Orange Cassidy, because he is a character, and I know he's a ratings mover and stuff, but man, you don't want to overexpose that character because it can get stale very quickly. Callum says, with Undertaker having his final farewell at Survivor Series and the Fiend teasing he's going to confront him, do you think it will actually happen? Do you think they'll have a match at Mania to be Undertaker's actual final match in front of a crowd, hopefully? Like, I know Undertaker was doing the press rounds this week, and he said that he's not having one more match, and doing a cinematic match would be cheating. But I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I'm kind of at that point with Undertaker. I will believe, like, that's one of the things I'm kind of looking forward to Survivor Series. I'll believe it when I see it, if Undertaker is actually a final farewell, or if it's just the tease that like, he's going to come out in a salmon suit and it's just going to be, the tease of a retirement.
When I got the press release, I thought, oh, okay. But I didn't actually take it seriously that, hey, this is going to be the Undertaker's retirement. I was just like, all right, cool. We're giving this a name. He's showing up and it's his farewell. I mean, I watched
giving it a name.
Yeah, I'm like, they're just giving it a name.
Absolute burial of this idea. Oh, great. They've given it a name, have they?
That's how I felt. Like, do you honestly believe that it's his retirement? Okay, I watched the Last Ride documentary. Even on the documentary, he talked about this. He said that, he says, okay, Vince, it's my last match, blah, blah, blah. And then Vince gives him that call, and he can't say no, and he's the Undertaker, and he says yes, and he has that cycle where he pushes himself. I mean, come on. We just saw the documentary. Gave us all the answers.
Connor King, if you could pick one star from each major company to face each other, who would you choose? I'd love to see a match where it's Balor versus Pentagon versus Osprey versus Callahan versus Kenny King. Okay, so it's all going to be in the same match. In which case, then, I'm going for Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega, Sami Callahan, Kazuchika Okada, and who am I going to pick from ROH? I'd have picked Rouge, but I don't think he's with the company anymore.
I was going to give you an answer, but it's the answer I'm going to use.
Dang it! Who am I going to pick? I mean, yeah, I suppose I could pick my mate Joe Hendry.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Joe. I'm going to pick Joe Hendry.
He can make a song about it.
Exactly, yeah. And he would make a great song about it as well. Who was your pick?
All right. Bandito.
Yeah, okay, yeah, great shout.
Bandito. Are we doing Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or just WWE? Sorry.
Just WWE brackets general.
Okay, I would go with who am I gonna go with? Oh crap. You know what? Because I just watched him 10 seconds ago, I'm gonna go with Walter.
Mm-hmm.
And then for New Japan, I'm going to go with Hiromu. And then, this is going to be a pretty interesting match. All right. And then AEW, I'll go with Hangman Page. Impact, I will go with Willie Mack.
Oh, that's a great shout. Oh, that's a really, really good shout for old Willie Mack. Yeah.
A bunch of spots with a bunch of chops thrown in there.
The Snapdragon Ryo Odonte, thank you very much for your thoughts on the comparisons between AEW and WWE. I don't really have time to sort of go into them now, but thank you very much for those. It was really, really interesting. My question happens to be about Quizlemania. If you guys tried to get the What Culture guys on the show, I'd love to see all of you guys clash in the chant at the trophy. I think, if memory serves, so like early doors, like when Quizlemania first started up and we realized that it was something that people liked. It was only meant to be a one-off thing. It was just meant to be one show that we did because people were looking for some entertainment, and we thought, well, that'd be a fun thing to do. Everyone's doing quizzes at the moment. We'll do a wrestling-based quiz. And then people really liked it. So we're like, well, I guess we'll do a second then, and we'll get Larson on. That'd be really fun. And then it sort of snowballed from there into to the behemoth that it is now. So I think early doors, when we were like reaching out to people, we did send some messages out. I don't think they ever really got back to us. So yeah, but I think we have reached out to them previously. But you know what? We've got bigger guests on.
Is that the rule? Like you reach out once, you get rejected, and you're like, nope, time has passed.
Yeah. I was going to say time has passed. The only time
that's my rule in life.
And as I said, we've got bigger stars now. We've got Denise Salcedo on our show. We've got Sean Ross Sapp on the show now.
Exactly.
Got Queen of the Ring. What about Brian Zane? Jubba JJ, hey Team Danuke, I've been watching The Invasion and I'm up to that WCW main event of Raw, and it's clear to me that WWE set themselves up for failure with the presentation and match that wasn't good. My question is, how would you have made the WCW main event better? Jubba JJ, there is one simple answer to this. Don't put Buff Megan Bagwell in the main event. You put Lance Storm in that main event. That is one way around it.
That was literally going to be my exact answer. All right. Like there's no reason why it shouldn't have been Lance Storm. All right.
Should have been Lance Storm. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing would have been for WWE to have not wanted it to fail. Like they wanted that to be such an epic failure. So they had an excuse not to do it anymore. Andrew Donnelly, if you could make one change to the Royal Rumble, what would it be? P.S. I'm from the northeast of Scotland. Can I hear Denise try and do a Scottish accent?
Wait, what do Scottish people sound like?
Like Scotland.
Like Drew McIntyre. That's right, yeah. Right? What should I say?
Could you just say, to make it easy, you could just say, I am Drew McIntyre. I am the WWE champion.
Wait, can you do it one more time?
I'm Drew McIntyre. I'm the WWE champion.
I can't do that. Okay. Okay, hold on. It's not coming out. It's not coming out. It's going to be terrible. I'm Drew McIntyre. I can't do it. I'm Drew McIntyre. I can't make a Scottish accent. It doesn't come out right. It sounds Indian. My Scottish accent sounds Indian. It's not working. Yeah,
I'm afraid that didn't quite go to plan, did it? Anyway, Andrew said, if you could make one change to the Royal Rumble, what would it be?
Maybe don't waste the spots on like legends that we don't really want to see. Is that something?
Oh yeah, I quite like the legend spot sometimes. Yeah, I think but I think it's got to be the right kind of like legend spot.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, a legend spot that means something. So like, I know a lot of people kind of bury it because he's in the Hall of Fame now, but the use of Drew Carey in the 2001 Royal Rumble was absolutely perfect because it was all done to get Kane over, and it massively got Kane over. Like it's one of my favorite Rumbles of all time, and that spot, it's so funny, and it comes beautifully after the moment with the Honky Tonk Man as well. Like that, I think the use of the Honky Tonk Man and Drew Carey, that is how you should use like legends and celebrity cameos in a Royal Rumble.
Right. Don't use like the same surprise legends that we see each and every single Royal Rumble though. Like mix it up. Let it be someone that we haven't seen in a long time.
And don't overexpose it either. Like, do you remember that year when all three of the commentators got their spot in the Rumble? Like Michael Cole, Lawler, and JBL all got in. Like
that's the fun.
Yeah. Bryant Heath says, I hope you're both happy and healthy. I just wanted to ask, what's your guys' favorite Thanksgiving memory? This will be a question more for you than I, because we don't have Thanksgiving here. So I don't have Thanksgiving memories.
Wow, I completely forgot that Thanksgiving is an American thing. Like for a second, I was going to go, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And then I remembered the whole Thanksgiving pilgrims and Indians. And I was like, oh, wait, oops, that's only exclusive to us. My bad. My favorite Thanksgiving memories are all like the ones from like early elementary school where we used to do the little turkey with the hand. And then I just love to eat stuffing each and every single year because it's delicious. And that's my favorite part of. Sorry?
Can I ask a question? The turkey with the hand?
Oh, you don't know the turkey with the hand?
No, turkey with the hand. Well, does the turkey have a hand?
No. So basically what they do is you're a little kid and you put your hand on construction paper and then you trace your hand and you make a turkey with it. So these are the feathers.
Oh, okay.
And then this is the head. And it's a turkey hand.
That makes more sense. I thought you were drawing turkeys. They've got like human hands. I was like, what is wrong with America?
These Americans be crazy, man. We do be crazy over here.
We recently, just a couple of years ago, obviously we can't do it now. We started doing Friendsgiving. It was just an excuse for us to get together, and we would try and make. I mean, vegetarian, so we would have like a nut roast or something. But it was just an excuse for us to get together and have a nice big meal together and just watch films. That was really nice. So
It's
yeah,
becoming a big thing here. Like people do like 3 dinners that week, like Friendsgiving at this family, Friendsgiving here, dinner with this person. It's a whole thing now.
yeah. I mean, I do love a big like Christmas dinner with friends and family. It's great.
What do you eat for Christmas in the
What do
UK?
I eat for Christmas? Turkey is what we would have for Christmas. Like a turkey and a pork is what we would usually do. Like when I was a youngster, or turkey and beef sometimes.
That's so interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I used to, and actually, do you know what? I was one of the few people who actually liked turkey because I like to have a turkey sandwich afterwards. It's like one of the best things about Christmas is you would have like your turkey lunch, all the trimmings, and you're so stuffed. And then it gets to sort of about like, 9, half 9, 10 o'clock, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't know, the royal family Christmas special is going to be on. Let's get some turkey sandwiches, mate. You get some turkey, put some stuffing in there, some cranberry sauce, bit of salt and pepper. Oh, thick white bread. Beautiful. Love it.
Sounds beautiful. Can't wait for Thanksgiving now.
Alex Kirkman says, I'll reach Luke and Denise. Hope you're living at large. Here's my question. If WWE go with The Rock versus Roman at Mania, do you think the feud needs the title?
No.
Nope, absolutely not. The American Dadass, Jesse Long. Lord knows AEW doesn't have room for another championship, but if they did, and they absolutely had to, what new championship would you like to be added to AEW? Trios title is the title I would like to add.
I would say, given that they have so many people, the Trios title might be the best one.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Williams, this is my first mailbag. Yes, please. I just wanted to ask, where do you think AEW would be right now if in the ratings if COVID-19 wasn't a thing? Do you think they would stay consistently over 1 million viewers? I also wanted to say thank you for doing what you do in these trying times. Even though I stopped watching wrestling, you guys are the reason I keep up with it. Keep up the good work and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Brandon. That's really kind of you to say. Honestly, I think AEW would be in the exact same position they're in now. I don't think it would have been much higher. I don't think it would be any lower. I think they'd still be where they are.
I agree. I think they only hit like 1 million or surpass 1 million when they debuted, and that's about it from my understanding.
I think they did do over 1 million again this year. I think there was an episode with Jericho. I don't think it was the Jericho 30th anniversary episode, but there was an episode that did over 1 million. But I think it was when they were unopposed as well. Like when when NXT went going against, and that's the thing is NXT is, and the whole purpose of putting NXT against them wasn't to beat them in the ratings, was just to siphon viewers away from them. Mark Jones says, hi, Luke and Denise. Coming back with a mailbag question this week. I watched the AEW games launch on YouTube and wondered what you guys thought of it. I've been playing wrestling games as WWF In Your House on the PlayStation. I have to admit, I really like the look of the console game. I think it has potential to be great. I've never played No Mercy or WCW NWO Revenge, as I never owned an N64, so I don't know what Get It is all about. Do you think the console game will be any good? I suppose it can't be as bad as 2K20. I am excited for the console game. I know that some people have been a bit snarky about the way that it looks, but I think that's kind of the point. It's supposed to look like a bit sort of cartoony stuff because it's going to be an arcade style game. So I think that is kind of the point. And I'm really excited about it. I'm a No Mercy fan. WCW NWO Revenge, WrestleMania 2000. I love those kind of arcade. I don't like sports simulation games, so I am much more of an arcadey style player. So I'm I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I'm way more into it than I am the GM mode or the whatever that casino game is. But Denise, I know you are not a games player, so do you have any thoughts?
Games, but I'm totally opposite of you. If I were going to play anything, I would play that GM game or that casino double or nothing game, because I do download mobile games every now and then. But then I'm that person that'll download a game, I'll play a bunch of rounds, and then when I run out of all the free tokens and like the free lives and stuff like that, I uninstall the game.
Oh yeah, you're not the whale that they're after. That is what
No.
do you know about this? Like that they're the whale players.
No,
It's
what is
basically like. Well, so like mobile gaming is all about making you spend money. So like they give you a free taster and then they want you to spend money to continue playing it. And if you are one of those people who are a heavy user, you're called a whale. And that is what mobile gamers are after. They're after whales that they can rinse a lot of money on. I know, right? And I've previously been
a whale.
I've once was a whale for a game. Simpsons Tapped Out. I spent so much money. I spent probably about £200 on that game. And and what was the point? Because it was an interactive coloring book. Like, what was I thinking?
It was a coloring book?
It's basically a coloring book because, like, you build your own. Like, I call it disparagingly now. It's an interactive coloring book because that's what it is. Like, you're basically building your own little Springfield town, and you're like making people do tasks to get money, but you want to make them do the task quicker, so you spend money. I spent so much money on it, and what was the point? What was the absolute purpose of me doing that? Talk about a waste of money.
You could have gotten those fancy pants for half the amount. Do you realize your money could have been spent way differently? You could have had two pairs of those fancy pants.
I could have been Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yes.
And the second part of that is your all-time favorite wrestling game. And to echo yours, it's SmackDown. Mine is SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain is definitely my favorite wrestling game I've ever played outside of No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000.
I think I played Raw versus SmackDown. I don't know, it was like 2000, 2002, something like that. I played it like a couple of times. I had a season going, and then my season got deleted. And I never played again. I was so pissed. I never went back.
And actually, Drew Smith has also got feelings about the AEW video game. Will you be playing it on your Twitch channel? I'm still subscribed to you guys. I would love to see you play through it, whatever the story mode they'll have. I think that when AEW do drop the video game, we may do something around either streaming it on YouTube or streaming it on Twitch. I mean, I would be up for it. We need to find a way to do it that it's entertaining, because if it's just one of us on our own, I don't think it'll be quite as good. But we'll find a way to do it. Philip O'Reilly, hope you guys are having a good day. This is our last question. Luke, with you and Mr. Davis constantly unable to defend your championship, I was wondering how much is the taxi fare to each other's houses? What do you think the taxi driver is thinking? And what is Denise's opinion on all of this? Can you also say hi to my 8-year-old Liam, who likes Luke but loves Denise?
Oh, I'm so happy that I'm loved. First of all, thank you so much for sending love to me, and Liam, thank you so much for watching the show and loving me more than Luke.
So yes, so it costs us about 50 quid to send this title back and forth. Some might say that's also a bit of a waste of money. And yeah, I don't know what the taxi drivers think. I don't know if Davis tells them in advance what they're just taking cargo as opposed to people. A taxi arrives and I put it in the back, or it arrives and I just take it out of the back. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Denise? Have you seen us exchange the title belts?
I haven't seen you guys do that. I need to see that, but I'm like shocked that you guys like use taxis, and like I forget that like taxis to me is like a New York thing, and then after that, like I forget they exist.
I mean, so I can show you. I've got one championship change that I can show you that's loaded into the back end. This was when I lost the title. So you're just taking this, okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is the contact name for the person?
Ollie.
Oli.
Yeah.
So I'll call you when I get there.
Yeah. Nice one. Thank you.
Two hours later.
Yes, shooting in portrait mode, like the people want. Here is the championship in the back. Yes, it is. Let's pop this picture. Oh no, it's not in there. It's in the back seat.
Yeah, back seat. Yeah.
It's on the back seat. You're doing God's work, my friend. Once again, the Jam That Champion. Thank you very much, Mr. Uberman. Bad boys shot. It's a bad boys shot. Now.
So that is what we're doing.
I have a million questions. Okay, so first of all, your taxis aren't yellow.
No, they're just regular cars because they're just Ubers.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, but you call it taxi. So I thought you were talking like a yellow taxi, not like an Uber or a Lyft.
No, like our taxis, like you've got like black cab taxis in London, but like if you are a cab, you are just called a taxi.
I'm so confused. Secondly, how far do you live? Like, how far apart do you live from Ollie?
I can Google map that because I am West London and he is North London. Okay, so ask me another question while I Google map it.
Yeah, because okay, and then my third question, or not question, but like statement is I don't think that would work here in Los Angeles. I think my Lyft driver would see all that gold and keep it.
Someone did say, guys, do you remember Jericho lost his title like through this sort of thing?
You just don't know. Like people might be like, you never know. They'd be like they'd be thinking like it's be worth a lot more. So then they might be willing to risk it. You know, I would not trust this form of transportation for your belt.
So it's 23 miles is to get to from mine and Ollie's house.
How many minutes is that?
With today's traffic, 1 hour, 9 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know why, but I had the assumption that you guys all lived relatively close to each other and could like walk to each other's house and like, I don't know, just take the tube or something.
No, if I was to take the tube, it would take me, I think, probably about an hour and a half to get to Ollie's house. That was about an hour 14. I can get the Central and get into Victoria.
I'm shocked. Because I've only been to London one time and I was only there for like 3 days. So
it's a big place.
Yeah, so like it's shocking to me.
Place. But anyway, so that is all we've got time for on this edition of the magazine show. Thank you all so much for your Patreon mailbag questions. Thank you so much for watching and joining us. Denise, where can people find you on social media?
Twitter and Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. I'm so close to 19K on Instagram and I'm so close to 11K on Twitter. And my goal is to get to 13K by the end of the year. So help me out. 13K is the goal. Oh, and youtube.com/ Denise Salcedo, because that's the place where all my videos and my whole life is on.
Or you can click this button right here that will take you directly to Instinct Culture. Go give that a subscribe. Absolutely, please do. Denise is a wonderful, wonderful human being. Thank you so much for watching. Click the videos that appeared on screen for more awesome WrestleTalk content. I've been Luke Owen. This has been Denise Salcedo, and that was wrestling.